Milarepa, the legendary Tibetan yogi, stands as one of the most revered figures in Tibetan Buddhism, renowned not only for his spiritual mastery but also for his extraordinary connection with nature. His ability to control the elements, wind, fire, water, and earth, is often recounted in Tibetan texts, symbolizing profound spiritual attainments and an inseparable bond between human consciousness and the forces of nature. Milarepa's life of asceticism and spiritual practice. Milarepa's journey to mastery over the elements was not one of magic or external power alone. It was the fruit of years of intense spiritual practice, deep meditation, and inner transformation. Born in a tumultuous environment, Milarepa's early life was marked by suffering and personal darkness. After committing acts of sorcery and revenge, he sought redemption under the guidance of his teacher, Marpa the translator. Milarepa devoted himself fully to the harshest of ascetic practices, enduring severe physical deprivation while meditating in isolated mountain caves for years. This rigorous spiritual journey was essential to Milarepa's ability to transcend the limitations of the material world and enter into a harmonious relationship with nature. Through meditation, Milarepa accessed the deepest levels of his mind, achieving realization of the illusory nature of reality. His spiritual accomplishments are not seen as a manipulation of nature, but rather as a unification with its essence. Mastering the elements, symbolic and literal accounts. One of the most famous stories illustrating Milarepa's connection to nature involves his ability to control the weather and his resistance to the harsh Himalayan climate. In many accounts, Milarepa is said to have survived in the mountains with little more than a cotton robe to cover him, despite the freezing cold. His ability to generate body heat, a skill known as Tummo or inner heat, reflects mastery over the element of fire, and symbolizes the yogi's inner transformation and control over his mind and body. Other tales recount how Milarepa could summon or dispel storms at will, prevent natural disasters, or travel swiftly through the sky, defying gravity and mastering the element of air. For instance, during his meditative retreat, it is said that Milarepa caused snowfall or storms to dissipate, not through coercion but by aligning his mind with the natural forces. His communion with the elements reflects an advanced stage of meditation, where the boundaries between subject and object dissolve, revealing the interconnectedness of all phenomena. In Tibetan Buddhist symbolism, these miraculous feats represent more than supernatural abilities. They convey deep spiritual truths. Each element corresponds to certain aspects of the human mind and experience. Earth represents stability and grounding, water symbolizes fluidity and adaptability, fire stands for transformation and purification, air signifies movement and freedom, and space, often considered a fifth element in Buddhist thought, symbolizes openness and boundlessness. Milarepa's control over the elements can be seen as his mastery over the mind's afflictions and his realization of the nature of emptiness, shunyata, where all phenomena are devoid of inherent existence and are interconnected. The symbolism of nature in Milarepa's enlightenment. Milarepa's relationship with nature serves as a powerful metaphor for spiritual awakening within Tibetan Buddhism. In his life story, the natural environment is often depicted as both a setting for his transformative practice and a mirror of his inner journey. The mountains, caves, rivers, and sky represent the vast, untamed nature of the mind itself. As Milarepa tamed the wild forces of nature, he also tamed the wild, uncontrolled forces of his own mind, anger, attachment, and ignorance. For instance, the mountains where Milarepa meditated for years are symbolic of the stability and endurance needed to attain enlightenment. The isolation of these rugged remote locations reflects the renunciation of worldly distractions, while the harsh conditions symbolize the challenges one must face and transcend on the spiritual path. In one famous story, Milarepa is challenged by demons in his cave who represent his own inner fears and obstacles. Instead of banishing them, Milarepa welcomes them with compassion, transforming the very forces that sought to disturb him into opportunities for deepening his practice. Here, the symbolic relationship between mind and environment is clear. The external elements become expressions of internal states, and mastery over them represents an integrated understanding of self and world. Nature as teacher, Tibetan Buddhist perspectives. Within Tibetan Buddhism, nature is often viewed as a teacher, offering lessons to the practitioner about the nature of reality. Milarepa's connection to the elements reflects a core Buddhist understanding that the external world is not separate from the mind, but is a reflection of it. His ability to control nature symbolizes the realization that the practitioner, upon deep introspection, can come to understand and harmonize with the forces of the universe. Milarepa's life illustrates how the enlightened mind, having transcended duality, no longer sees a separation between the self and the environment. The elements, fire, water, air, and earth, are manifestations of the same emptiness that pervades all things. When Milarepa calls upon the elements, he is not acting as an external agent but rather expressing a profound realization of non-duality. The elements become tools for teaching the Dharma, demonstrating that the control of outer phenomena is always secondary to the control of the inner mind. Milarepa's legacy, spiritual mastery and environmental harmony. Milarepa's mastery over the elements is not just a testament to his extraordinary spiritual powers, but also a reflection of Tibetan Buddhism's broader teachings about the relationship between humanity and nature. In a world increasingly aware of environmental crises, Milarepa's life reminds us that true mastery of the environment comes not from domination or exploitation, but from understanding, compassion, and harmony. By controlling the elements through spiritual practice, Milarepa exemplifies the Buddhist ideal of overcoming inner suffering to create outer peace. His story continues to inspire practitioners around the world to cultivate inner transformation through mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom, realizing that the path to mastering nature begins with mastering the mind. In this way, Milarepa's connection to nature and the elements transcends mere myth. It becomes a symbol of the highest form of spiritual realization, where the practitioner moves beyond the illusions of separateness and merges with the natural, boundless reality of existence itself.